and Happy New Year. This is another haul video for the week of January 6th, 2023. Big haul this week because we got my December shipment from Discount Comic Book Service along with some books I got from Comic Relief this week. So without further ado, let's get through it. Starting with DC Comics, we have Action Comics number 1050, A New Era Rises. Then we have Batman number 130. Next up we have Batman and the Joker, The Deadly Duo number 2, with that cool Mark Silvestri cover. Next up we have Batman Incorporated number 3. Then we have a one-shot that really takes me back. We have Batman Spawn. Fun fact about my personal comic book collecting history. Comic Relief, that's the local comic book shop that I normally get my books from every week. I've been going there for close to 30 years, and the very first comic that I ever got from Comic Relief was the original Spawn Batman crossover comic. With that was the one with Todd McFarlane doing the artwork. They also did a Batman Spawn, but it was Spawn teaming up with the Jean-Paul Valley version of Batman. That one was okay, but this is nostalgic for me for multiple reasons. Next up, we have Batman vs. Robin number 4. Okay, and then we have Catwoman number 50, nice little milestone issue. Next up, we have Detective Comics number 1067, focusing on Mr. Freeze. We also have Batman, or Detective Comics, the 2022 annual. And we also have this big one-shot. It is John Stewart, the Emerald Knight, number 1. Beware his power. And I believe this is going to lead into the new Green Lantern ongoing series later this year. Next up, we have Justice Society of America, number 1. Just saw the Justice Society in a movie that I'll be covering a little bit later in this haul video. Spoilers. Then we have Monkey Prince, number 9. A simple but really cool looking cover, very striking. We have Nightwing, number 99. We also have the Nightwing 2022 annual. Next up, we have the latest Nubia special with Nubia and the Justice League special, number 1. All Hail the Queen. And then we have Poison Ivy selling out in Poison Ivy number 7. Continuing with this mini-series, we have Punchline, the Gotham game, number 3. And then continuing this mini-series, we have Sword of Azrael, number 5 of 6. And then we have the WildC.A.T.s dealing with the Court of Owls in WildC.A.T.s number 2. Next up, we have this big 100-page one-shot, the Wildstorm 30th Anniversary Special. Of course, when Wildstorm first started, it was one of the studios that was the original formation of Image Comics until it was early 2000s. Jim Lee sold the company over to DC. But, cool. I've had fond memories of some of the Wildstorm properties. WildC.A.T.s, Gen 13, DB8, Savant Guard. And then wrapping up the DC Comics, we have Wonder Woman number 794. Moving on to Marvel Comics. A big crossover with Spider-Man is Dark Web, where Ben Reilly, now known as Chasm, has teamed up with Madeline Pryor, the X-Men villain. She's basically an evil clone of Jean Grey. They have teamed up, and Spider-Man and the X-Men will have to deal with them. But starting it off with The Amazing Spider-Man number 15, Legacy number 909. Here we have Spidey fighting Venom. And we also have The Amazing Spider-Man number 16, Legacy number 910. And this time we have Spider-Man fighting Chasm. Peter Parker versus Ben Reilly. Here we have the start of the crossover with Dark Web number 1. Another Dark Web tie-in with Gold Goblin number 2. Norman Osborn trying to be a superhero. We know it won't last, but hey, gotta give him a chance. Another Dark Web tie-in is this miniseries, Mary Jane and Black Cat number 1. Moving away from Dark Web for a minute, we have Moon Knight number 18. Actually got this at the comic book shop instead of Discount Comic Book Service, but we have Scarlet Witch number 1. The only Spider-Man book I got that's not part of Dark Web is Spider-Man number 3. It's doing its own storyline with End of the Spider-Verse. Moving on to Image Comics. This is a book I got from my local comic book shop. We have Radiant Pink number 2. And we also have The Walking Dead Deluxe number 54. From Antarctic Press, we have this one shot. It's the Fred Perry Sketchbook. Just some random sketches that he's done. He's got some artwork of his characters done up as characters from other companies, including Justice League, the Ninja Turtles, Transformers. Lots of really cool artwork for someone like me that is a huge fan of Fred Perry and his Gold Digger series. From Coffin Comics, we have Hell Witch versus Lady Death Wargasm number 2 of 2. From Dynamite, we have Cherish number 2. First issue was okay. We'll see if I keep reading this or not. Probably not. From Dynamite, we have Purgatory Must Die number 1. And as always, I get the listener cover whenever available. Wrapping up the Dynamite books, we have Vampirella versus Red Sonja number 3. Last time it was Vampirella that lost her head, and this time it's Sonja. But as always, I get the listener cover whenever available. Moving on to Zenescope. We're almost done with the comic books, guys. But we have Belle, Deep Freeze, another one-shot featuring this different version of the Beauty and the Beast character. And 32 pages of content. And we have Grim Fairy Tales, number 66, with 22 pages of content. Next up, we have this mouthful of a title. It is Grim Fairy Tales, Myths and Legends Quarterly, Blood of the Gods, with 72 pages of content. And another mouthful, we have Grim Spotlight, Red Agent, Friendly Fire, with 32 pages of content. And we have the Grim Tales of Terror Quarterly 2022 Holiday Special with 72 pages of content. And finally, and thankfully, because my arm is getting tired holding all these books, we have Oz, Return of the Wicked Witch, number 2. I believe this is a 5-issue mini, and it has 32 pages of content. Okay, that is it for the comic books. And for real, my left arm is a little bit sore because that stack of comics was very heavy. But I have 2 more things to show you guys. I got a couple of Blu-ray releases. Spent some Christmas money that I got. And the first one, I got this yesterday and watched it last night with my wife. And it is the 4K release of Black Adam. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as the Captain Marvel supervillain. You say Captain Marvel, the DC Captain Marvel, aka Shazam, not the Marvel Captain Marvel. But I also thought this was cool, the sticker here. Apparently we are celebrating 100 years of Warner Brothers now. So they must have started in 1923. Oh yeah, let me show you the back. Nice shiny slipcover there. It was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. Not one of my favorite of the DCU movies, but definitely the upper half. More in the middle, but in the top half of the middle. It was enjoyable. I liked this interpretation of Black Adam. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty faithful to the more recent incarnation of Black Adam from the comic books, pretty much since Jeff Johns started writing him in Justice Society of America back in the 2000s. It was pretty good. Had no real complaints other than the main villain at the end. The CGI was pretty bad. I mean, we're talking Steppenwolf from Justice League bad. But let me open it up, guys. Discs are playing James because this is a mainstream release. But there is the Blu-ray, which that's what I watched, and then we have the 4K, which I will watch when I get a 4K player. Anyway, really good movie. Like I said, it's a middle of the road DC movie, but it is like in the upper half of the DC. Right, if I was to rank them, it would be in the top half. But anyway, like I said, other than the CGI on the villain, I really had no complaints about this movie. The story was solid. The acting was all solid. I thought they did a really good Hawkman. I really liked the effects they did for Dr. Fate. Even though technically Doctor Strange is the knockoff and Dr. Fate is the original as far as comic books are concerned, Doctor Strange came first in the movies, and they had to do some stuff to make him look different, or how his magic would work differently, and I thought they did a pretty good job of making it look like it was a different flavor than what Strange does for the Marvel movies. And I liked Cyclone and Atom Smasher, really fun characters. I was really happy to see Sarah Shahi again in the movie. I'm a big fan of hers from Fairly Legal. There was one show with Damian Lewis called Life that ran for like 2 seasons. That was really good. She was the co-star in that series. And she also had a recurring role in like the first season of Chicago Fire. But it was good it was a pleasant surprise to see her in there as well. And of course, I'm always been a big fan of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, The Rock. So seeing him in a superhero movie finally, I mean, it was long overdue. The guy is built like a real life superhero, so it was pretty much way overdue for him to be in one of these movies. A little disappointed that this is probably going to be his last time doing it. I am looking forward to seeing what James Gunn does when he reboots the entire DC movie universe after the next 4 movies, which were already in the can, come out. I think we got Shazam! Fury of the Gods next, the ill-fated The Flash movie. That's been a whole mess. Then there is Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom and Blue Beetle. And after that, the DC universe that we've had since Man of Steel is going bye-bye. I mean, James Gunn's going to do something different. I am going to look forward to seeing what he does. Give it a different flavor, something that's not stuck to the aesthetics that Zack Snyder started. I mean, I liked Zack Snyder's aesthetics, but I also acknowledge it really wasn't ever meant to be used for a shared universe. It wasn't a proper style for a house style, so to speak. And I think that was one of the problems that the DCU was never able to completely overcome. So the fresh reboot, I understand why they're doing it. It's gonna suck to see some of the actors go, because I really like Henry Cavill as Superman. I really love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Quite a few of the other actors I've really liked, and they're gonna get recast, but we'll see. I mean, before Gal Gadot played Wonder Woman, I only ever thought of Linda Carter as Wonder Woman, but she nailed it. She pretty much envisioned the character. And Ben Affleck, it's disappointing that he never really got to play Batman in a proper, straight up Batman movie. It was always in a team up movie, but c'est la vie. I got one more movie, and I see my battery's getting low, so I'm gonna kind of speed it up here. But we have this Blu-ray. It is Pearl. This is a prequel to a movie I watched last year. It was X. X was it was a movie I probably would have enjoyed more when I was younger, but to me, X felt kind of sleazy and not in any kind of good way, not even in an ironic way. But this movie I enjoyed so much more. It was a prequel. I guess quick backstory: X took place in the 70s. Group of young folks with dreams of making it big, delusional dreams of making it big as adult film stars. They're doing their own adult movie by renting a barn on this decrepit old farmhouse, or this renting a barn and a decrepit old farm. And this old couple, I think they were like 70s or 80s, didn't like what they were doing, and stuff happens. Well, Pearl was the main villain in X, and this takes place in 1918 when she's a young lady. She also happens to be played by Mia Goth, who was also playing the main girl in X. So she's been playing multiple roles in this series, but Pearl is excellent. It is technically a horror movie, but slight spoiler: the kills don't really come until the third act, and when they do come, they come like rapid succession. But the movie's really more of a psychological horror, as we see the deterioration of someone that was never quite mentally healthy. But this is 1918, and even today, people don't really fully understand or appreciate mental health, even with what all we do know today, as far as like autism and depression and psychopathy and all these other things that people suffer from, ADHD and so on. So it was even worse 100 years ago, where a lot of stuff wasn't diagnosed properly. We didn't understand it, and we were treating it wrong with horrible things like lobotomies and whatnot, shock therapy and other things that just don't work and just made the patients worse. But anyway, she has a lot like the main character in X. She has dreams of making it big. In her case, it's becoming like one of the girls and the dancing girls in the movies of the era, the silent films of that era. And she's stuck on the farm, doesn't want to live on that farm, hates her mom. Her father is not in great shape. She's frustrated with her situation. Her husband is off in the Great War. And the whole movie is really about her descent into madness until she finally snaps and gets all Lizzie Borden on everyone. And like I said, this one I really liked. I can recommend Pearl. I would say just skip X entirely and go straight to this one. You don't really need to watch X to enjoy this one. It's pretty much self-contained, other than it is the origin story of the villain from X. But yeah, I can recommend this one, and I do like Black Adam. So that is it, guys. yeah, that is it. I lost my train of thought there. So I'm going to go ahead and close this video off by saying I hope you guys had a great new year, and I hope we all have a better 2023 than we did in 2022. Even if you did have a good 2022, I hope you have an even better 2023. And guys, I will catch you later. But don't forget, you can watch this video here, or that video right there, and you can subscribe right there. Later.